Right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you very much for all the new subscribers. We're aiming to get to 1,000 shortly, so it's much appreciated that you're all supporting us. So we've got a video here today. We're over in Oxford on a garden room that we started about a week ago now, well, 4 days ago, on the build side of it. And it is a gym, so it's a garden room gym that we're doing for a customer. It's 2.8 inside ceiling height, so we've dug that down deep in, so we're still within permitted development. We're 2 meters from the boundary, so that works out well. So we come have a little look around the building. Follow me, and you can see the sort of size we're working with in here. You know, we've got massive head height, so when people are doing gym work with barbells and stuff, they won't be touching the ceiling at all. And today's video is going to be on the Cedar Soffits. I haven't done one of these for you guys yet to show you exactly how we do it. It's often overlooked. This is our cedar piece here, so you can see nice tongue and groove piece. And what we do is we secret fix them, so we go through the tongue at an angle, and that will go straight through. So when you tie in the next bit of cedar, you won't see the fixing, and it finished up lovely. We use stainless steel pins, little brad nails to work in the Milwaukee nail gun, so they won't rust over time and end up breaking. So if we come over here, I'm going to show you guys how we start this off. If I take the camera, and here's our soffit. So on this side of the soffit, we want to start a cedar off from there. We want to run it all the way along to the end of the soffit. If we start it dead on that, we often get little bellies in the cedar, so we have to straighten bits out, and if we haven't got any play on the back of the cedar, we can't move it or manipulate it around. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure probably 20-30 mil off the front of the building, and we're going to ping a chalk line down the whole length, and then we'll measure from the chalk line one width of cedar, so it's probably about 135 mil on this piece. So we'll put that there, and we'll measure a full length of cedar up to there, and we'll then ping another chalk line down. And that's where we'll run our first bit of cedar. So we'll pop it in there, and then we'll run it true to that line the whole way down the building. And then we won't end up with any issues further down, because if you get a little belly in there, when you get to your third or fourth piece of cedar, it ends up having a gap on the tongue. It just doesn't look smart. And then your ends as well, because if you look, they're dead straight. If it's at a slight angle, it won't meet up and you'll have gaps. We don't want any unwanted gaps, so that's why we do it. We've put a cable in, we've drilled all the holes for that. We're going to run that. That's pretty self-explanatory. Put your cable in, and then everywhere there's a mark, we just pull a bit down like this, tightens a little like bow or a knot like that, and push it up, and that keeps out the way the hole saw for when we drill our cedar. We'll show you how to do that later. And this is obviously our cable for our Cedar Soffit lights. We're going to have spotlights down there, so 8 spotlights down on this soffit. Now if we go around to the side of the building here, we're going to have, I'll pass the camera back to James. Again, we only allow for one piece of cedar, so we do, I think it's 234 mil laddering off the side of our end bit of timber on the roof joist, and that allows for one piece of cedar, and it allows for other cladding just to butt up against it like that. So we run the cedar all the way down there as well. But first, before we do that, we're going to insulate these gaps just so it's nice and cozy in there, so we've got no thermal bridging through the wood. So let's get to it. Right, chalk line pinged. So this is a chalk line. You can get them anywhere, local builders, B&Q, whatever like that. So we have held that tight. We've done it 140 mil, so we're going to have a nice like about, what was it, 140, James? 160. Well, 160 mil we've gone off the front of the building, so 160, that gives us plenty of movement there to manipulate the boards as we go down. You can see the streamline there, the chalk line there. It's marked it nice and far out. So James, can you just chuck me a bit of cedar so I can... So here we've got this bit of cedar. We're going to be going tongue side out when we fix it, and that will just offer up like that along the chalk line there. We'll offer it up to the chalk line. That leaves us a nice bit behind, so we can bend it and get it straight, so we can go like that, you know, move it in and out as it needs to along the chalk line. So this is the tool we're using, the Milwaukee Fuel nail gun. We're going to be using the 18 gauge brads on it. They're 35 mil and they're stainless steel. I get these off Amazon actually, quite a good price, and they just fix the gun nicely. and they pin and fix the cedar really well, nice and secretly. So we're going to get to that. We're going to get the first bit of cedar up now, and we'll show you how we fix the first bit to get our straight line going. So James is just on the cedar there, and I'm going to get my ladder. So here we go, first piece going up. So James has offered that up to the building. And we're on our chalk line here, you can see our chalk line there.
Tongue to the chalk line.
So tongue onto the chalk line, so it's nice and easy right there. So pull it over a little bit, and that'll be where it goes. And then, as you can see, we do a straight fixing on the back of it, because it doesn't, it'll be covered by the other cladding that goes up to the building. And then through the tongue, a bit of an angle like that. So if I take the gun here, give you a closer look of the angle, we fix it. This bit of cedar is actually really straight, so we're very fortunate there. But if you look, we fix that there, put the red bit of the gun on that angle point, about a 45 degree, just fire it in. And as you can see, that just puts a nice brad there, and when you offer the next bit up, that will cover it and you won't see it. That's our first piece fixed on, and that'll be dead straight onto the chalk line there. Then just cutting our next piece. They'll be coming along. Tidy up both ends always on these cedar boards. Although at the factory they'll get cut on a machine, but it's never completely dead straight. And when you're joining a piece of cedar like this, we want them to be bang on with each other, so there's no gaps at all. So James has marked that. Nice dead straight cut there, and we get that piece up. Another thing to note is James has kindly switched my my tool hanging clip, so I'm left-handed and now I can't fix it on my belt, so he's commandeered my own tool.
I use it more than you, so
He's taken it. Oh, he uses it more than me, he says.
there you go.
Now the reason he's done that is because his Pazload ones let him down so much he has to use the force to get the job done, but you know, oh well. Right, so we'll get this next one up. So now this board is fixed up. Look at that, see, dead straight, completely flush, no gaps there whatsoever. And we'll just continue to run that the whole way down the building on this first row. And then our second row will run completely true to this first line. And when we get to the end, we'll have a nice straight cut. And when we put our cap on, which has a little L-shaped tongue, straight line the whole way down the soffit. Okay, so that's the first couple of lengths up. Now, how we're going to do it from now on is we're going to do the joints dead straight. So, because it's about 4 lengths down the building, we go 1, 2, 3, and there's going to be a bit on the end. We're going to run that join the whole way down. So, say for example, when we get to the end, we're going to be probably 3 rafters in. We'll have the join here, and then we'll do another full length, and then another join there, full length, and then another join there, just so the joins are all in the same way. Sometimes we stagger them. I think it's just the best way to be cost effective with materials. If you stagger them, you can get the most out of it, but with this one, because we're using 3 full lengths and then a little bit, we don't really need to be staggering to save on the length, so it works out. Okay, all good. So that is our first row of Cedar Soffits up. Now we can just fly them up. We can just do them, like I said, with our staggered joints. You come down here, you can see how small our joint is at the end. I think it's about 350 mil. It's only a small piece, so that will run the same the whole way back now, and we'll have it on that end, and then as we run back this way, it'll be on this end, and it'll be a nice straight line. Now, if we go up and have a look, just something I want to show you guys quickly now, because some things always seem perfect, and then when you do it yourself, you're always like, oh, I can't, how has this happened? But timber isn't always perfect, look. So on this piece we've got here, we've got a lovely join. The tongue's exactly where we want it to be, exactly on our chalk line. However, the actual piece of timber has been machined smaller. So look at that. You know, that's a good 3 mil smaller than the other piece. So if we were doing that on here, this bit here, it would leave a massive gap, obviously. So those bits of timbers, unfortunately, you have to get rid of, or you can use them on your first line of cedars, because you're going to cover the back. It doesn't matter about that step, because when we do our double batten on here, our cedars on the front is going to end up coming to about here, so you won't see that step, but you wouldn't be able to use it on the front. So that's just a little note there, that, you know, as good as you are carpenter or whatever, you can only be as good as the timber you're supplied with. And on cedar stuff like that, there's not much you can do when you've got a whole length that is a different size to the rest. So unfortunately you have to just get rid of it. But right, we're just gonna set a little GoPro up now. We'll do a little time lapse of us just fitting all this, and then we'll come back in a bit. So just quickly on our first piece that we're putting up here of our second row, as you can see, the line follows nice because we did that chalk line. We've got no gaps the whole way down. It's a really nice fitting bit of cedar. On these ones here, we can only pin them from the front, so the tongue holds it there. And all we do is we offer our gun up, going at 45, and pin it there. Again, through the tongue, we've got our stainless fixing there. And as you can see on this joint here, there's absolutely no sign of fixing. So just one more thing to mention, when you're doing your soffits, you want to be making sure the joints are all on the same piece. So I'm just going to turn the camera on there. You're going to be making sure they're all the same, so they look dead straight the whole way. With that, we just write a measurement down there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll zoom in a little bit. 2388 mil there. So that is the length of these first pieces there. So they'll all be the same the whole way down. And then obviously on our second piece there that's running off where it finishes there, we've got 2380. We'll do that the whole way. We've done it from there onwards, so the lines will stay the same. Instead of measuring from it to the next bit, it's also quite hard when you're doing it yourself. So that's just an easier way to make sure you get dead straight lines all the time. Right, when we're marking our cedar, we always want to mark it in pencil up here. Always in pencil, because if you make any mistakes, you know, these lengths are about £40 a length, and if you put it in pen, you can't get it off. It's just going to ruin the length. And also, if you've tacked it all the way up, that's going to be an absolute headache to pull down. So always mark in pencil. With these lengths here, from ridge to ridge there, it's about 120 mil. I'll turn the camera around here. Yeah, we want to be going from this ridge line there to that ridge line, and it's can't really see it on the camera, but it's bang on 120 mil between here and there. So we'll just mark 60 for our cross. 60. We know our line on the wall here is between each joist. It's 15.3, so I can just mark there to there, 15.3, and then run a square down it. Then we've got our line bang on. And we'll do that the whole way down, marking our soffit lights. And the reason we do that before we finish putting everything up is just in case, again, same reason we mark in pencil, in case there's an issue with any cables, we can't quite get it by putting our hand through a tiny hole. If we've got these big soffit gaps here, then we can get a whole hand in, get the cable, feed them down, and we can ensure that all the electric supply is there for the electrician when they come to connect it all up. And there's no mistakes, because you don't want to get everything done and then you have to take everything off again if there's a problem. So yeah, better to cut them through with a hole saw and have no mistakes. So the tool we're going to use, just a hole saw. Quite a straightforward little tool. Good enough. It's just going to go through there, take it nice and easy, cut through them, real simple, and that'll make a nice hole. Don't want to spoil it. So get a little maybe slow-mo video of that working. Right, enough of the slow-mo. Done. 8 holes drilled, all bang on. So yeah, 60 mil in the centre, all the way down. Now we'll just finish off the rest of the soffits. And then we'll start on the sides and the back. Sides and the back are exactly the same as the front. Like I said before, there's just going to be one line going the whole way down, and that'll be the same around the back perimeter and other side perimeter. Now we can pull our cables through there. So what we've got is our soffit loop. We've also got a spur here which runs down the wall. It's terminated here, and that's for our up and down lighters, which will be on either side of the door there. If you ever had any problems, it's just handy to have that open so you can get your hand in and pull anything through that you need to. So we'll go down, pull all those through. Onto our side piece of cedar now. I see our L piece on the capping board is going to come down and cover this line, so you won't see any of this detail there. But as we join them, these are going to be cut square, and we've obviously got these chamfered edges on the edge of the cedar. So to make it look a bit smarter, we'll chamfer the edge going up to that bit. So as you can see there, you get a nice joint, and it looks right when it meets. So I've done that one there. We're going to come down here, and on this end piece, you can see there, what we've done is we've just knocked the tongue off. We'll knock the tongue off there, which has been taken off. So we just chisel it off with a little chisel, just pop it along, and it'll come off really easy because it's very thin. But as you can see, this side's got a chamfer because they're all chamfered on the tongue and grooves. So now we get our back piece here coming up to it. We want that to have a chamfer groove as well. So we've worked it out. It's normally 33.9. So if you've got a miter saw, great. You can do it with a skill saw as well if you don't have a miter saw. With a skill saw, nice little tip, hit your square. And if you're going to do it, you can put your square up against the cedar like this, and then you can set your miter on your skill saw, and you can actually run the skill saw plate up against this, so it will just keep it nice and straight. So you can hold this with one hand, skill saw with the other, and it will cut a nice 33.9 on there. But for now, we've set our saw to 33.9. We'll offer it up, and we'll just cut that quick. So as you can see there, we just sort of teased it in. So just take a little bit off at a time and just feed the wood in a little bit, because you don't want to cut the whole way through at 33.9. You just want to cut the top off. So just cut a little bit, feed a bit of wood in a bit more, and then just keep chopping. And that gives you a perfect chamfered edge like that. And that will meet up the other bit of timber, like so. So we'll just bring this bit of timber around here. James has got that. Steps. And then, as you can see, when that all meets up now, it's just got a nice finish up bit. He pulls his end in, that will tighten up that gap there.
What way?
That way,
Yeah.
in towards the building. Yeah, that's it. And then we've got a nice finished edge there. And then we'll pin it. And then our capping board will cover that joint. We'll show you all the detail once it's finished. And then we'll fix it. James just fixed it there, because again, our capping board's going to cover all that, and you won't see it. Okay, so that is soffits laid. We just need to do these front trim pieces up here. It's just like a 30mm bit, a rip that needs doing. We're going to show you how to do that in a sec. You come round. Hard to see because it's getting a bit dark now. You can see those chamfered edges meeting up lovely. We've done cedar around the back. Sometimes we do OSB around the back. Depends how much you're going to see when we do the metal cladding. But on this particular room, you're going to see quite a bit. So another chamfered edge there. And on this last one, get a nice close up at this. This little chamfered edge there meets up lovely. Just sort of just joins the two together nice. It's just a better way of finishing it, otherwise it's a bit of a step. And that is no good, doesn't look as good. So yeah, chamfered edge is nice. Packing up for the day now. So tomorrow morning we'll come back and we'll get the video up for you guys of those little rips on the front and how it looks. Right now it's time to fit these rips onto the Cedar Soffits. So it's only going to be like, by the looks of it, 30-40mm rip. It's a shame that we've got to ruin a couple, rip down a couple of bits of cedar here. And we've got all this lovely cedar. So it's a bit of a shame that we've got to do that. But we've got some bits that have got, a bit of they're not the best bits, so we can just rip down these bits and get some nice pieces out of them. So it's not all wasted, you know, we've got some blemishes there, which we wouldn't use on the face of the building anyway. So we've got a few offcuts here that we can use for these, so it's not completely wasted. So we're going to get those done, those rips on first. We're probably going to have to trim down that rubber a little bit because that'll be in the way. We can go flush with the roof line because we only need about 40 mil when we do all our caps, so trim a bit of that off, that's fine to do. Once we've done that, we'll be getting onto the roof deck and be doing the fascia boards for you guys, so you can see how the cedar finishes up with the fascia boards, with the little L-shaped tongue underneath that nicely fits on the cedar, makes it all look nice and smart for us. So nice and chilly today, beautiful views. It's about -1, so it can get busy. So what I've done is set up a little cutting station here. So this table that I've made, just a bit of OSB, it will allow me to lay the cedar on. So if I get one of our pieces, let's start with this one. What I'm going to do is just lay it down on here, and that will give us a nice firm base just to rip it down. 18 mil probably be better because it'll be more solid. Maybe even put another trestle in the middle there, but it's lying on the cedar, so we can't use that. And then we're just going to mark the cedar. So if I turn the camera around, we are going to mark it from the groove side because that's going to be slotting in to the rest of the cedar on the soffits. So I'll probably mark it around here. And then for the purpose of the video, you can use a skill saw. Just draw a line on it, use a skill saw, but fortunately we've got this track here that we can use with my Makita plunge saw that I've got, which is a fantastic bit of kit. So if you are a DIYer and you're doing a lot of work, get one of these because they're so good. They literally make life so much easier. This one here isn't a 3-meter one. This is actually 2 put together. They join like this, just on the little bolt fixings here. I mean, for cabinetry and stuff like that, probably not the best tool. You want a full 3-meter length. When you join them, they do run off a little bit, a mil here or there, because it's really hard to get this dead straight when you put them together. They always move. But yeah, you know, if you've got space in the van for a 3-meter, if you've got a van, or you can keep at home, 3-meter one's perfect for stuff like this. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to get the plunge saw out and we'll trim that down. So we're going to measure 35 mil there, just to the edge of the timber on the fascia there. So that's 35 mil to the end of the tongue, well, the inside of the tongue, sorry. That's how big our rip needs to be. And then our L-shaped L-piece fascia board here, the little groove that sits underneath, we'll just cover that bit up. So it's not dead flush to the end of the building, it's not the end of the world, because that will cover it. So we're going to cut that and get those up all the way down there, and then we can get onto the fascia and you guys can see how that all fits up. We'll measure 35 mil from the groove side of the board, so we'll just measure that right there. Tape move, that's good. And we'll do the same for the other end. And another thing to mention is when you're using a track, if you're going to use one, it's always handy just to have another piece of cedar on this side of it when you're doing a rip. So when you pull the track across, it's got something for the back edge to rest on, which the saw will be running. Otherwise it would be all wobbly like that on the end. So we're going to line our track up onto our marks, and when we do it on the track, we use the rubber to cover the pencil. That way, because the blade cuts exactly down this line of rubber here. So if I get the track, I'll show you guys what I mean. Sorry, if I get the plunge saw. If you look here, when the blade comes down, that is right on the rubber there. It's hard to see. Maybe I'll show you on the end here to get a better idea. It literally comes right down onto it. So if we look down the saw there, it's cutting bang onto the rubber. So when we're measuring, we're lining up our track, we put it right onto the mark, and we know that's going to be 35 mil to the rubber there. So we'll do that on the other end, and we'll run the saw down it. I also always use extraction on these tools. So we're going to plug the hoover in. It's a pet hate of mine. You know, loads of dust going over there all over site, even with the mics over there. Hoover's always plugged into it. We go through quite a few hoover bags, but keeps the site tidy, stops dust going around everywhere. It's not healthy to breathe it all in. You know, when you're working with MDF, OSB, stuff like that, even cedar, even natural woods have got stuff in it that you're not really supposed to breathe in. So try and be as clean as we can. I like it that way. So, and the extraction works really well on this plunge saw. You know, hardly any dust comes out. You know, lovely cut there. So 35mm, straight, good piece. Nice cut on the track saw, no splinters or anything. It always cuts lovely, that plunge saw. So now we need to offer that up. And hopefully James will be in a minute. He can give me a hand filming whilst I fix these things. But yeah, pop that up like that. Okay, so James and I have just offered that one up, this first bit here, and he's just going to hold it in because it's such a small piece. It will flap about a bit, and we're literally just going to pin it all the way down like that, the whole way, as the tongue from the fascia board will cover that. So do that the whole way down, and then we'll show you how we do the fascia boards. Okay, on to the capping board. Now, if you've built your roof joists with 5x2 timber, you're going to have 5x2s at about 120mm, then you're going to have your 80mm OSB, and then you're going to have your 18mm cedar. That's what it works out to be. So altogether, on the inside of this whole piece is 175mm. That's 175mm capping board there. But we're going from this little L-piece tongue, you know, the one I was saying about earlier, that's going to cover our cedar. From there to the top is 165. We've measured our deck, and it needs to be 157mm. So we've made this little jig, or James has, look, made by James Allen himself, fascia jig. And it goes there, and then we can literally just run our skill saw straight up against it as a guide, and we can run along the whole way. In fact, James had a better idea, and he's upgraded the fascia tool. So now it's actually got a push on it, so we can put it in like that. As we run the skill saw, it will just push along the guide. You won't even have to hold the guide with your hand. Perfect. So we're going to do that. Someone's going to stand at the end with the blower, blow down this way because this makes a lot of dust. And as I said before, I don't like it. A lot of plastic dust, don't really breathe all that in. So we'll get cracking on this. Okay, so we're on the roof deck. We've got our fascia board here. We've got these little nails with little plastic heads on them in anthracite grey, which will match our fascia boards nicely. So you can see we've got the tongue underneath, and that is, hold the camera here, just going to cover up our cedar. The tongue will fit just underneath there like that, and that will make that nice and neat. As for spacing, because we're going to put caps on them, we use a hammer's length, and then we hold our point top on the bottom like that, so it's flush, and then we lift it up, and that keeps a nice straight line the whole way down. I'll show that in more detail from the front in a second, and we knock that in. I've just fixed a couple in here, and you can see how flush that is. So now our rubber will go over that nicely, and our roofing edging trim, curb trims, when we finish the rubber, will sit just on top of that nice and flush, and there'll be no drops down. As you can see, it follows the whole way down, dead flush. Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, just a hammer width apart, put your nail on the bottom like that. So that gives you your height, so you keep a nice straight line, and then you lift it up. You're just going to tap that in a little bit there, and you always want to make sure this is pulled up tight to your soffit, and that will make sure it's a good straight line the whole way down, and it's nice and tight up to the cedar. And that's it. Don't send them in too hard because it will dent the fascia board, but always make sure you're pulling up, and make sure you've got a good hammer as well. got to have an S-wing or something like that. Can't be using any old rubbish hammer because you'll be bouncing off those nails like crazy, and if you hit the front of the board, it's game over. It really is. It's a real bad day when that happens. Right, on to the corner piece now. So we've done our front, that's how it all finishes up there. So it hides all those fixings the whole way down. Now on our corner piece, we want this piece here on this one to come up just on the inside of that there. But obviously we've got a tongue, so we're going to measure that tongue. I'm going to cut that off the other one, and then it will just slide over that. And then when you put your edging corner piece on, you'll just see a nice corner from the bottom, and there won't be any joins. So I'll show you how we do that. Okay, so we've marked it here. So this is our next piece going up. 28mm in, this tongue's 28mm, so we're just going to take 28mm worth of that tongue off, and that will just fit completely flush with the other one. When we offer it up, so we've just used a little handsaw to cut that. We use a multi-tool sometimes, but we've got the handsaw on the roof today, so you literally just hold it flush up against it and you just cut it like that, and that will just chop it out nicely and then go down that way. Straightforward, use that as a guide on the back there when you do it flush. That will cut it nice and straight. Okay, that's all the fascia capping boards fixed on. So the rubber's just hanging over now. We're going to glue that and get all the rubber trims on. As you can see, lovely lines down there. Nice fixings here on the corners. You can see our chamfered edges there where our 90-degree angles meet, which we did yesterday that I said I'd show you once the capping board's on. You can see it all covers the tongues. Looks lovely. Nice finish there. I'll walk down the building. You see it the whole way. These sides too. Okay, that's it. End of the video. All done. We've got our soffits done. We've got our capping boards fixed up. All the nice bits and bobs. Any questions for you guys? Please just drop in the box below. Really appreciate all the new subscribers, like I said earlier in the video. But any new ones, if you'd subscribe, like, maybe even share someone you can help with these videos, that'd be fantastic. Any new subscribers is much appreciated. We're on Instagram as well, so if you want to go over there and give us a follow, we do daily stories, reels and stuff like that on little tricks and tips, time-saving tips of the week and things like that. So yeah, thanks for watching again, and we'll see you on the next one.